It was a quiet spring afternoon in rural Pennsylvania, the kind of day when the world feels safe and familiar. But on May 11th, 1966, all of that changed. For one teenage girl, a walk home from the school bus turned into a nightmare. And for 8 long days, the country held its breath. This is the story of Peggy Bradnick and the madman who dragged her into the woods. Welcome to History Corner. In the small community of Shade Gap, Pennsylvania, nestled among the wooded hills of Huntingdon County, life moved slowly. It was the kind of place where no one locked the doors, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. Peggy Bradnick was just 17 years old, a quiet, studious girl, the oldest of 6 children. On May 11th, as Peggy Ann stepped off the bus with her siblings, she had no idea that someone had been watching the family's routine. Watching for a long time. Someone the locals just called Bicycle Pete or Bicycle Bill. That someone was William Hollenbaugh, a strange, reclusive figure who drifted around the countryside. But he was far more than an oddball with a red bicycle. He had a dangerous past. Hollenbaugh's life had been spiraling for decades. Short, skinny, and stooped, missing 5 front teeth, Hollenbaugh had been convicted of burglary in 1939. He had spent 6 years in prison and 13 in Fairview State Hospital for the criminally insane. He was described as socially withdrawn, emotionally flat, and prone to paranoia. A schizophrenic. In 1959, Hollenbaugh was released. He moved to the Shade Gap area and lived as a hermit in a 2-room hilltop shack, subsisting on hunting and state relief checks. People frequently spotted him riding his red bicycle around the area. Everyone just thought he was a harmless eccentric. There was no fear of him because he never bothered anyone. But actually, he had. Only no one had suspected him of events that had started 2 years prior to Peggy's kidnapping. A sniper, dubbed the Mountain Man, had started firing upon area residents. Over a 2-year period, the sniper struck 5 times, injuring 2 of his targets. 4 of the gunman's 5 victims were women. Attacks he bragged to Peggy about. In August 1964, he had broken into the home of Mrs. Christine Devaney, shot a rifle out of her hand, then bound her wound and left. Shortly thereafter, a woman driving on a back road discovered it was blocked by a pile of logs. Suddenly a man fired a shot, breaking her baby's nursing bottle. She and the baby were unharmed, and she was able to flee. On April 16, 1965, Ned Price surprised a trespasser on his property and was shot in the leg. The damage to his leg was so bad it had to be amputated. Another woman was shot in the arm and sexually assaulted. Hollenbaugh quickly came out from the woods with a sawed-off shotgun, wearing goggles, boots, and a hunting coat. He grabbed Peggy and threatened to harm her brothers and sisters unless she came with him. Her younger siblings ran, terrified, as the man dragged her into the forest. "The life you've known, you'll never know again," the gunman told her as he manhandled her. Peggy's brother Jim ran home as fast as he could and told his father, Eugene Bradnick. Eugene grabbed his shotgun and flew out of the house to search for his daughter, screaming her name over and over again. But he couldn't find her, not knowing she could hear him. Hollenbaugh told her, "You answer him and your head gets blown off," and he stuck his gun beneath her chin. He then stuck another gun in her mouth and said, "You answer him and you die." When Eugene was unable to find her, he went into town to notify the police. Stopping in a clearing in the woods, Hollenbaugh took off his goggles and stowed them in his pack. He then took out a cheek filler made from 2 wooden discs wired together. He was a grotesque-looking individual, Peggy said. He then pulled some clothes out of the pack and ordered Peggy to wear them over her dress, saying, "That red dress sticks out like a sore thumb." She was blindfolded, forced to march through rugged terrain. Hollenbaugh chained her to trees. He made her sit in silence for hours. He fed her berries, crackers, melted snow. He spoke of conspiracies, whispered about secret devices, warned her that rescuers would kill them both. And sometimes, he cried. He often berated her, spit on her and beat her. She never knew if he'd kill her, but she kept calm. She listened. She survived. He told her he had been watching her for 3 years, and also told her that from then on, she should consider herself dead. He told her she would never see her family again. He forced her deeper and deeper into the woods of the Tuscarora Mountains in an area known as Gobbler's Knob. Hollenbaugh frequently threatened Peggy, putting a gun to her head or a knife to her throat, reminding her that he was in control and that he could outsmart any of the men that were searching for them. According to Peggy, he had said his goal was to hijack a car at the Pennsylvania Turnpike Exchange at Fort Littleton and to force her to drive them to Mifflin County, where he said they would live. She later said that Hollenbaugh had no remorse and showed absolutely no compassion to any living thing. She said that no matter what she said to him, she could not appease him, and that he didn't talk much, often just grunting. The abduction sparked one of the largest manhunts in Pennsylvania history. Over 1,000 people joined the search: FBI agents, state police, and locals. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Bloodhounds combed the trails.
I want my daughter. It was the only way in the world to get her.
But Hollenbaugh knew the forest better than anyone. He was armed, angry, and always on the move. Hollenbaugh dragged Peggy along, under the Pennsylvania Turnpike, through a culvert and out of the search area, but then insisted on turning back to check on his dogs. He took her north of the turnpike again. He fetched a chain, chained her to a tree, and attempted to get his dogs but was unsuccessful. He then headed for the caves. The caves had been stocked with cans of corn and baked beans. At night when he slept, Hollenbaugh would chain her by her neck to a tree, and a couple of times tugged her along by a chain leash. After several days, Peggy's shoes wore out. He wrapped her feet in old newspapers and gave her a pair of his overshoes. A few days later, he was able to fetch his dogs. On May 17th, the search reached a critical point. FBI Special Agent Terry R. Anderson, a young father from Michigan, was helping lead the search through the Tuscarora Mountains. Near Gobbler's Knob, he stumbled upon a crucial clue: Hollenbaugh's dogs. They weren't strays, they were fed, groomed, guarding something. Anderson followed them through the woods. He called to one of the dogs, and without warning, Hollenbaugh rose up from his hiding place among a thick group of pines and fired his shotgun at Anderson. The bullet struck Anderson in the chest. He collapsed in the underbrush, mortally wounded. He also shot 2 police dogs, killing one. His fellow agents rushed in, but the killer had vanished into the trees, dragging Peggy with him once more. Anderson was killed. He was 32 years old. After killing Anderson, he felt she should be grateful to him that he would kill someone to save her, and beat and kicked her, breaking 2 of her teeth because she did not appreciate his having killed Anderson. She said he was proudest after he killed Anderson and the dog. Peggy said he was a killer and he did not care. He danced around and chatted and celebrated killing Terry Anderson. After another night in the wilderness, Hollenbaugh took Peggy into the wash house near a hunting cabin. When a man entered the wash house on the morning of May 18th, Hollenbaugh shot him in the gut, Peggy said. The wounded man was a Cambria County Deputy Sheriff, Francis Sharp. Hollenbaugh forced her into Sharp's car and ordered Sharp to drive away. But their route was blocked by a cattle gate near Burnt Cabins, Pennsylvania. The deputy had to get out of the car to open one farm gate. That's when searchers spotted the car and the shooting started. Hollenbaugh dragged Peggy from the car and crossed a field toward the Rubeck farm. Inside the house, 15-year-old Larry Rubeck saw the man approaching with a rifle and a girl at his side. He raised his own rifle and fired. The shot distracted Hollenbaugh, and State Trooper Grant Mixel took a shot from the opposite side, hitting him in the chest. One bullet struck Hollenbaugh in the chest. The nightmare was finally over. Peggy ran into the arms of Pittsburgh newsman Scott Rombach. "Thank God," she cried. "I'm safe." Peggy was rescued. She spent a week recovering from cuts, scrapes, bruises, and severe dehydration, and thankfully, she had not been sexually assaulted. She had lost 14 pounds during her week in captivity. Peggy said her faith got her through it, and it's that faith that has guided her since. She would later say, "I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor." A memorial stands in Shade Gap, not far from where Peggy was taken, to honor slain FBI agent Terry Anderson, Peggy said. Terry Anderson is truly my hero. Amazing man, a father of 4, and I wonder why his life was taken so quickly and so abruptly. I will always feel bad about his death, and I will always advocate for mental health, because no one should ever have to leave this earth like Terry Anderson did, Peggy explained. 25 years after the kidnapping, Peggy's story became a made-for-television movie called Cry in the Wild, The Taking of Peggy Ann, with Megan Follows as Peggy and David Morse as Hollenbaugh. David Soul played FBI agent Terry Anderson. It aired on NBC on May 6, 1991. Peggy, now Peggy Jackson, co-wrote a book with Chris Armagos about her abduction. It was released on March 20th, 2017, titled The Voice in the Mountains. With her unique experience, Peggy now uses it to advocate for people suffering from mental illness, speaking at hundreds of events across the region. In just 8 days, a sleepy town was turned upside down. A brave girl came face to face with madness and lived to tell the story. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from history. See you next time.